Hi, I'm going to show you how to do exercise 1 called is0, which is part of the session on test-driven development, and it's part of the programming formalisms course. Let's take a look what we need to do. We can watch this video. I know this. I'm not going to pick what assert does. We're going to develop the function is0. See specification below. Here it is. Use test-driven development. To prove you've done so in an exemplary way, do a git push at each blue refactor phase. Sure, we can do that. And this is what we need to do. Yeah, let's do it. So let's start Visual Studio Code. And I know the exercises need to be put here in source/learners. Let's do it. So let's first start Visual Studio Code. And the reason I start Visual Studio Code now is that you can see how this looks like from the beginning. So let's see, I already have the repo loaded and I need to put it in source. And what is in source? We have a folder called learners. That's great, that's where I'm going to put it. And here we have reshell.py. And this looks a bit different, so I'm gonna remove this for now. Maybe I'll put it back later. And I'm gonna write a test. Luckily, if I scroll a bit up, there's a section called Express Yourself in Python. These contain many hints. So I assume that my function has documentation. I'm gonna copy paste this there. And the function is called is0. So this would be my first test to assume is0 has documentation. That's the function I'll be writing. Here I can run the Python file. Let's see if it all works. And I have an assert error. So that means I just broke the code. That's the red phase. Now I'm in the green phase where I fix it. Well, luckily here we have how to get documentation. If I just copy paste it there, I'm gonna fix it. And I have to write something like determines if input is 0. And I like to just write down what I'm gonna do. Determines if input is 0. Will return true if the input is an integer with value 0. Will return false if the input is an integer with a non-zero value, So it always checks an integer. I just decide this now. Let's fix a spelling mistake. Will raise an exception if the input type is not an integer. Alright, I have written the function is 0. Let's check if it now runs, because this is the green phase. Yeah, it works. Let's push this online. So I can do here git add, git commit, git push. I can do that. But instead I'm going to use this section because I like it a lot. Here, is0 has documentation. This is the commit message, and here I commit. There it automatically stages and commits, and here we have it. Next step. What do I want is0 to be? Well, I want that if is0 is equal to 0, that it returns true. Well, you can remove this. This is exactly the same, but whatever you prefer, it's the same thing. So that means is0 needs to have an input argument. Oh, I'm going to check in the documentation just to be sure. Yeah, assert that is0 is 42. That's how you assert it. In this case, it should return true is true. Well, I'll just keep this alright for now. And this is how you return a value. Well, let's take a look. If is0, it should be true. And so how do you return a value? You write return 42. Sure, I'm not going to return 42. I'm going to return x equals to 0. This is one way. You can write if x equals to 0 colon return true, and then you write return false. That you can do that too. This is a solution, but you can also, as a shortcut, you can write this return x is equal to 0. I didn't check if I break the function, I just assumed I did. So I took a shortcut here. I should have checked that I broke the function, and then I did it again. Yep, is 0 correctly detects if a value is 0. And commit. Done. Well, I can check if is 042 is false. I can do that. The problem is that this test will pass, so I'm gonna, there's no error here, so I'm gonna delete it. What more can we do? Well, we can write, so we've tested for this, and I guess this. Now we're gonna check for raising an exception. An exception is a way of a function to say that something, that it cannot do its work, that it doesn't make sense to call it. So here I have expressed this. So is 0 or nonsense should throw. At first there's a variable called is thrown, so check, I'm just going to copy paste this text here. Must raise an exception if the input type is not an integer. I do that here. I think this is a good test. Let's take a look what comes out of this. It fails. That's great. Now it's time to fix it. And we go back to the course documentation. Here we have some code. Just going to copy it. It must be here. Let's see if it's correct. Let's get the indentation right there. So if it's not an integer, then say x must be of type int. That seems correct. I'm going to run it. There, I've done it. And then my commit message is then is 0 raises an exception on nonsense input. Commit. And there, I've done the exercise. I'm done now. So is that completely true? Yeah, returns true, returns false, gives an error when I put this number. Yeah, I've done it. So that concludes this video, how to program is0 using test-driven development in Python as part of the Programming Formalisms course. I wish you a very good day. Bye.